So I've been hearing and seeing alleged statements from Bud Crawford saying that he'll be okay with fighting Canelo. I even saw that saying that he would fight at 168 with Canelo. I don't know how true that is, because people just make up shit and they make a poster and then just paste it on social media. Look, man, if that is true, Bud Crawford is a savant in boxing, but there are weight divisions for a reason, okay? Now, Canelo is not a tall dude, but that doesn't matter. He is a brick wall. And even when he fought Mayweather starved him. That's how he could beat him, because he was dead at the weight. I think the catch weight was 152. And even those years, that was years ago, and he was much younger, Canelo. And even then, it was real hard for Canelo to make 152. So Canelo, I don't know that Canelo can go down to 160 anymore. I'm not sure. I mean, he fought at 160 with Triple G, but that's the only way that I could see this fight happening at 160, not 168, man. Because, and think about it, but he's full 147. He grown into it. He developed into it. He came from 135 and moved up. Now, granted, Mayweather came from down there too, So, 168 is just too much. 168 is too much weight for Bud. And at 168, Canelo's a monster. He walks through punches from fucking. He spars. Canelo spars heavyweights. Okay. And the level of power that Canelo has is really brutal. And his skill levels, if you watch when he fought Mayweather, he was still developing. He wasn't at the top of his game, and he was dead at the catch weight of 152. And of course, Mayweather, being the crybaby that he is, I'm sure he put rehydration clauses in there and the whole 9 yards. They just wanted him dead at the weight, and in 2 rounds or 3 or maybe 4, he was already spent because he was dehydrated. So look, I just don't see it, man. It's just, if the only way I would see that is maybe a 160, and then that would mean Bud would have to come up to 154 and 160. He'll have to jump two divisions, and to jump 2 divisions at this level of skill and power, skill and power. I don't know that he could hurt Canelo. I mean, Bud is a strong dude. Don't get me wrong. He's a strong guy. Look what he did to Errol Spence. Errol Spence, a monster. He's not a joke. And he toyed with him, and he made him look amateurish. I just don't see it. But the Canelo, if you look at a fight, the fights Canelo versus, say, Caleb Plant, who's a great boxer fighter, great skills. If you look at that level of skill, versus the level of skill he had when he fought Mayweather, which was still not completely developed. I mean, just the other day I was watching some rounds, some rounds of Canelo versus Mayweather. A bunch of stupid shit that he did in that fight. You know, getting caught, you know, just throwing and not getting out. You know, not sticking and moving, just planting his feet too much, not shifting like he does now. And just throwing predictable punches and not setting traps. I mean, just, you know, you could see the level of skill was not what it is now, which is, I mean, right now, if you've seen Canelo's defense, let's say when he fought Danny Jacob, when he fought Triple G, you saw what he can do now because he's developed. So it's not like they're going to fight and say, oh, yeah, Canelo he punches hard and stuff like that, but he's not very fluid. Not anymore. You know, he's fluid, consummately fluid right now. Even with his fight with Bivol, which he didn't execute the game plan he had to execute. You saw him just laying he went to the ropes and, you know, and just avoid a bunch of punches, made him miss a bunch of times. He just didn't let his hands go enough, and, you know, he didn't pace himself correctly. So yeah, that's not a fight that I think should happen. Maybe like I said, 160 maybe. And then they're talking about Tank Davis and Bud Crawford. Look, Tank is, you know, yeah, he's you know, he's got power and all that, but Tank, you know, he should stay down there at 135, 140. When you saw him when he fought at 140, you know, when he fought the Mexican dude at 140, the champ, and how little he looked. And even then, he knocked the guy around and stuff like that. When he started letting his hands go at the beginning of the fight, the guy was putting hands on him. But then when he started letting go of his hands and setting traps and counterpunching, then it was all over. But for you know, Tank to go up to 147 and fight the top pound for pound fighter on the planet, don't get me wrong. Yeah, sure. You know, he's an elite fighter, but he's an elite fighter at 140 tops. People say, oh, it's 7 pounds. You don't understand. 7 pounds is a lot of weight over 12 rounds. And then when the other guy, he rehydrates and he's that much, he's bigger and all this stuff, you know, it's just not going to happen, man. So the fights that I think should happen for Terence Crawford should be Jerome Ennis, Boots, Virgil Ortiz is a killer. They got a bunch of people at 147 that are really really good fighters. At 154, he was talking about Charlo, and that could be a good fight. That could be a great fight. Now, I am always confused with the two brothers, you know, the Charlo brothers. I mean, don't blame me. They're identical twins, for God's sake. Yeah, they're both great fighters, man. They're both great fighters. I think the fight that's going to happen with Canelo and Charlo is, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't see it. I don't see how Charlo is not going to get knocked out by Canelo, because Charlo, he's got too much heart. And you can't go against a brawler, against a guy who's got a fucking hammer on both hands like Canelo, who sets traps, who's an inside fighter and got great defense and can take a punch, because Canelo's been hit and he just stands there by big guys. I don't know that Charlo can hurt him. I don't know that Charlo can hurt him unless he catches him with a trap, and then this is boxing, so I could be talking shit, because if he traps him, if he gets him to in between those punches when he does the feint and then goes to the body, there are ways around that, so there's jabs around that, there's and there's ways to defend that, so yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good fight. Don't get me wrong. Charlo is a very dangerous guy, but Canelo's that much more dangerous. So you know what? I'm talking about it. I think it's going to be a good fight. The other brother, the brother that's a 160, would have been a better fight, but he got hurt or something, and he had some type of health issue, and couldn't do it. So his little brother, he's a warrior, so he's like, come on with it, let's go. So I respect him for that. I respect them tremendously, both of them. But the one thing he has to do is control himself. You can't go with your heart against Canelo. People think Canelo is just a brute. Canelo, no, he's business. Yeah, he acts like drug cartels. This is not personal. This is business. It truly is. He's a corporate boxer. That's all he does. He fights and thinks of ways to beat you. This is his business, and he's about it. And he's cold and calculating, brutally, almost sociopathic when he executes his techniques and his game plan. That's the way it should be, But a lot of people, they get personal, and Charlo's one of them. I'm one of them. I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. I'm very emotional when. And what I do, whatever, it could be life, business, personal, and that's not always good. That could, if you get wound up in the middle of the fight, that's a no-no. First thing they tell you when you're starting to learn how to fight is don't get emotional, be cold. This is business. Don't let the emotions affect you. Don't go all out, start seeing red, blood, no, you have to be calculating. You have to think with your brain, not with your heart. Okay, so if Charlo can actually stick to his game plan and control his emotions, he actually has a shot. I don't think about stopping Canelo or knocking him out. Then again, it's boxing. And this guy hits hard. They both the Charlos, they're not chumps. They can fight and they can punch. And they're great technicians, tacticians, practitioners of the art. And you never know. That's the thing about boxing. You never know. You catch them with a right punch at the right time, and anybody can go to sleep. Okay. That's harder said than done with Canelo, but it's not impossible. So if he can control his emotions, if Charlo can't control his emotions, that can happen. But anyways, the video was about Canelo and Crawford. But yeah, I don't see it, man. Although Canelo is not, every time you see him in front of a guy, Canelo's always most of the time he's the smallest guy. He's like 5'8.5" or something like that, 5'9". And he's not the biggest guy, but he's just super strong, fast, and super trained and very smart. And he knows this martial art. So I I don't think that Bud should be going up there. But Bud being Bud, it wouldn't surprise me that he would sign that fucking thing at 168. Yeah, and you know, why do you do? You know? So hey man, you know, you gotta love boxing. You gotta love it.